All right, if it's a big day, we love to hear from Dan Bongino, friend of the show. Dan, great to see you. You know, big news overnight. I don't know if you were watching live, but you've certainly seen it. 14th vote, didn't quite go. It was a tie. 15th vote. Kevin McCarthy is the Speaker of the House. Your reaction to this process and the outcome?
Okay, I got a lot to say about this, so just grab your coffee, ladies and gents, and stand by. So a couple things. Number one, to the crowd out there that was whining and moaning and wetting their diapers about, oh my gosh, it's chaos, what a clown show. You can shut your pie hole, okay? This is a constitutional republic. It's not North Korea. We don't go with Kim Jong-un behind closed doors and beat the crap out of people. What we do is we negotiate. We did it on this channel. Fox News carried the majority of this live. Every single American citizen in this God-fearing country that I love so much got to see on live television. If you just turned on the TV, you could even turn on C-SPAN. I think it's free. You didn't even have to pay for cable, right? You could have watched your elected representatives in a constitutional republic hash out their differences in front of the entire world. It was a glorious thing to watch, and I've never been prouder of our country. And I want to say to the 20 holdouts who got massive concessions that will control spending and bring more sanity to the House, I want to thank you on behalf of the conservative movement. Because think about it. In less than 5 days, you probably got more done to restrain spending in the next couple of years than a lot of crap talkers in the Republican Party did in the last 50.
It's true.
So again, to the whiny, moany crowd sitting there going, oh my gosh, the people will remember this, and this looks so chaotic. You know what? You're damn right they'll remember it, and I'll remember it too. It's one of the first times a bunch of elected conservatives went to Congress, said they were going to stand up for something, and then actually did it. And that's what I'm going to remember.
Dan, where do you see this going then? In this victory that has been accomplished, this actual accomplishment on behalf of the conservative movement, what's next then for those who represent that?
Well, the concessions are important. I mean, you've got a reinstitution of the Holman Rule, which allows them to cut the salaries of some of these swamp rat employees who are working not for but against the United States. You've got some mechanism now for spending restraint, pairing a budget cap increases with spending cuts. These are real things. Now, there's some people out there fairly on the conservative side saying, well, what's the guarantee they're going to stick to the deal? You know, ladies and gentlemen, I don't have a good answer for you that. The only guarantee is we got it now on paper, and it's going to be really hard for them in primaries to run away from it now that they got a deal if they break it
and
later.
They have a motion to vacate,
so I hope,
Dan. They can vacate.
And we got a one-member motion to vacate, which is really ridiculously powerful. I want to add one more thing, too. You know, listen, this is over, and I'd like to see some unity going forward. But going forward, I'd highly recommend people like the Dan Crenshaws of the world and the Don Bacons of the world, that calling your political allies, yes, allies in your movement, calling them enemies and terrorists, maybe take a course in public communication. Listen, Crenshaw's got a decorated history with the United States military, which I honor and deeply respect. He left a piece of himself on the battlefield, and you have my ultimate respect for doing that. However, that does not make you a gifted politician. And calling people terrorists and enemies when you claim to be part of the Republican Party is about the most asinine thing I've ever seen. And please, if you can't handle yourself better, then stay off TV. You're not helping the situation at all. And Don Bacon calling for, oh, maybe we'll just go work with the Democrats. Really, Don? Don's from Nebraska. You really believe that's what your constituents voted for? You to be voting with Democrats to pick a speaker? Come on, guy, give it a rest. That my old baseball coach used to say that when you screwed up. He'd say, come on, guy, it's time to wake up. We voted for conservatives, not the continuance of the same old garbage.
I feel exactly the same way. We voted for conservatives, not necessarily, not that they're one and the same with Republicans, meaning I have thought, we have for too long thought of this as a team-based sport, and it's simply that Republicans represent conservatives when we need to make sure that is the case. And Dan, I can't think of a time in my lifetime when that's been a bigger shifting ground underneath our feet. In a world of censorship and vaccine mandates, we need to figure out who stands for what and how we're going to go forward with this. And I don't mean this gratuitously, and I'm going to tee you up for this. Your show has been one of the places where we've had these conversations. What does it mean? You know a lot about civics, you know a lot about philosophy, and what's it mean? I can expect you're going to begin to have or continue to have those conversations tonight on Unfiltered.
Well, Will, one of the reasons I enjoy working here is we have a variety of voices. There are a lot of hosts here who felt differently than I did, and that's fine. They have different sources and different reasons, okay? On my show tonight, in the open, we acknowledge that, good, and we're glad it's over. We got a speaker. We got what we could get. We took the win. We got massive wins for the conservative movement. But I want to point out tonight how all the people in the media talking about this was some kind of clown show. Listen to my monologue tonight, where I talk about the real clown show. What happened with the Democrats while the media was busy insulting us for fighting for spending restraint and prosperity in the Republic. I want you to see what the Democrats were doing. Wait till I lay it out in the monologue. You want to see a real clown show? Watch that. And one more thing I want to mention, too. I'll get into tonight a little bit as well. Listen, for all these people like, oh, and the Democrats, they always stick together and we don't. Good. I'm not the Borg. I'm not a damn automaton. I'm a conservative Republican. And conservative Republicans are uniquely entrepreneurial. They believe in liberty and freedom, and we don't all think alike. And we got to a conclusion. It took a couple of days. We got some of what we wanted. The more moderate wing got some of what they wanted. We've got a speaker, and the business of the House will continue. It is a glorious day for the Republic. Everyone should celebrate it today. You shouldn't. There's no reason to hide your head in shame. That's a left-wing media garbage narrative. It was a glorious week, and I enjoyed every second of it.
I agree with you. If they'd have voted 100 times, fine. If it takes us to a place where we get these kinds of conceptions, it's fantastic. And I'm sure you saw it, Dan, and we got to go. Hakeem Jeffries gave a disgusting speech before giving it to Kevin McCarthy, impugning everything. So be careful what's behind Nancy Pelosi, because there's a lot of radicals in that Democrat Party right now, and they're in control.
Yeah, and luckily we've got now some good, strong rules to restrain some of the stuff they're doing.
Yeah.
Pete joins me tonight on the show, too. We've got a couple hot take stories you probably missed this week with the drama, including Hillary Clinton is now a professor, so Pete has some funny comments about that, too. Or
yes,
is teaching in some school or something, so don't miss that.
Can't wait to take that course. Dan Bongino, thank you, brother.
Thanks, Dan.
Great
Have
to
a
see
great
you.
day.
You got it, guys. Take care.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.